Hello and welcome back to Villa TV and to Match Day Live with myself, Kate Tracey, alongside Stiliyan, Petrov, Darius, Vassell and McInally. Now, this is our first post-game show. We were always intending to do this for today's game, but it feels even better when we're coming here on the back of a 2-1 victory for Aston Villa over Man City. Stiliyan, that was quite something.
It was good timing, yeah?
Yeah, wasn't it just?
Yes. I mean, Villa were outstanding today. I think from Martinez up to the top to Duran, they've done everything right today. They were really hungry, they were really well prepared, well balanced, they were moving the ball very quickly. And we said that they have to be clinical. They were clinical. When they had their moments, they took them and they really looked really comfortable today.
They did. And exactly what Stiliyan just said there, Darius. When we were previewing this game, we said about those key moments, those little wins all over the park. Villa were winning every single one of those.
That's the one, and it's really important. And it's not just about the motivation that Villa get from winning them. It's about how it sinks Man City as well. And this is what I was trying to explain. When you're going through a bad patch, when you are against those moments, and those moments go against you, it hurts more. Yeah, it's more of an emotional hit. And I think Villa took advantage today and got the rewards they deserve.
Exactly that, the rewards and then some. And it was slightly frustrating, of course, then. We're going to get on to the details of the game in itself, Alan, that they did just concede that late goal. Slightly unlucky. We'll get into the details of that in a moment. But the overall performance from Villa, they started so quickly. Their tails were up. And as Darius has just said then, Man City, given the lack of confidence they have at present, it was the ideal start for Villa.
Which, incidentally, after 3 minutes, if you remember, John Duran was through and probably could have taken an extra 10 yards and just tried to take things a little bit early. But from that moment on, and we spoke about the vulnerability at the back by us. And incidentally, we passed the ball from the middle of the park today to the front line so well. We had Matty Cash under pressure most of the first half. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And I spoke about the middle of the park being important for us. Tielemans was as good as I've seen him have a game at Aston Villa, genuinely. He ran the game, and Stiliyan will probably have watched him closely. His touch was good, his passing forward was good, and I can't remember him giving the ball away too often, which is so important when you play against Man City. The stat you're going to give me is that Man City had more of the ball. Have it. Have it 40 yards from goal, no problem. It's when you have it and where you are when you get it and what you do with it specifically. And we did it better than Manchester City.
And as you say, the possession-wise, Stiliyan, we were expecting that from Man City, for them to have the most possession within there. But Villa, it wasn't as though they were absolutely overruled by that, because they did keep it well enough themselves there. And as Alan said, they were playing with so much confidence, so much movement as well. And it was almost the best that we've seen of Villa.
Yes, and it's okay to maintain possession and to control the position. But Villa were very comfortable because everything is in front of them. They can see everything. There was no runners behind. How many times we watched if anybody runs? If anybody runs, they don't pass it. What they're doing, they were just going wider, they were going wide, and as soon as the ball go wide, it was brilliant to see they were just doubling up. They were just making sure that everything is covered. And that was easier for Villa. But the next stage is the transition. When they get the ball, Villa will just rapid speed. The players were just moving in the right direction. That's how you got the first goal.
Haaland, what about Haaland today?
Yeah, disappointing. I know you thought the centre-backs of Villa had a good job.
I thought they did.
They did have a good game, and it looked that way. But looking at Haaland, and we both were observing him, he's completely right. There were no runs in behind. There's no threat in behind from Man City. And Haaland didn't really want to get it to feet either. He was kind of waiting for the ball to turn up to him in the box so we can stick it away. So I felt that was not completely down to Villa's centre-backs, but I think Haaland is having a bit of a bad run of form as well.
He is, isn't he? And again, low on confidence perhaps then as well. Pau Torres did unbelievably well to deal with him. Matty Cash with Jack
Kate, honestly, if you watch the game again, he has 5 or 6 headers in the first half that have to be made. Under the crossbar as well, giving away a corner, either going that way or beyond him. He was absolutely fantastic. And that's, as a centre-back, you have to smell that danger. And himself and Ezra, I think, are as good as anybody in the Premier Division like that. They are so good. The communication's excellent. And we play big games, they seem to be able to step up to what's required for them. If I was so critical about Villa today, I'm thinking, who could you not give pass marks to? Everybody was absolutely brilliant. And we spoke about how they'll have to be to beat a Man City team that are still really good, that are still international football players, but we stood up to the plate today. I thought the boys were unbelievable.
They really were, weren't they?
Really good.
Right, let's get into a nitty-gritty of it. The first goal, 16 minutes, John Duran. Now, of course, Morgan Rogers with the assist. And Darius, the fact that we've said this about Morgan Rogers, that he's so unselfish. And we have actually, just hearing that we have actually got John McGinn ready to go for an interview. So an extra little Brucey bonus for you here. So we're going to cut to that.
I'm stopping there. I'm going to get carried away. Are we good?
Okay, they're going to come back to us in just a minute. So, but as you can see, John McGinn is there waiting for us with a big beaming smile on his face. Now, we have got him back. So, again, we're going to fire back to the lads there with John McGinn.
A bad run of form. We've not been at our best ourselves. So today it was a dangerous game. We had to be at our best, and we certainly were.
As a team, I know one or two individuals shone out today. We'll talk about that in a moment, maybe. But as a team, off the ball, there was a lot of hard work out there today.
Well, there was. People, football fans are very quick to jump on the back of teams when they've had a lot of success. They don't just become a bad team overnight. So, full of world-class players, a team that everyone should respect. So we had to be on the ball every single second, every minute. And I think today was a mature performance. We listened to the gaffer's game plan. Last night in the hotel, we were watching loads of clips of Man City. So, credit to the boys. We stuck to that game plan, and it certainly was tiring. Last 5 minutes it was tough, but we managed to get over the line.
Mm-hmm. And Morgan Rogers really caught the eye today.
I've always been shown potential. We all know what he can do when he's busting through with the ball. He's so strong, agile. But the only criticism you could put towards him recently is, can you go and get the end product? Can you go and put the finishing touches on? And today, I think everything just clicked for him, and it was good to see.
And there seemed to be a lot of confidence about Aston Villa, considering who you were playing and the way you were playing. There was a lot of confidence out there today.
We had a lot of belief. I think it was a little bit of a strange formation. The manager's stuck with 4-4-2 for a couple of years now, but when Diego got injured yesterday, or I think he was carrying an injury, it forced him to shuffle the pack. Thankfully, we've got a few versatile players, myself, Morgan, Yuri. We can shuffle around, and we managed to do that seamlessly. There was a lot of thinking going on during the game, a little bit of a chess match, but that's the way football's going, and it's about who focuses the longest, and thank goodness there was only 4 minutes added.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, a big thank you to John McGinn there. That kind of caught us on the fly, to be honest. That was an unexpected, nice little surprise for us, but great to hear from him. And also the fact he was saying there, the game plan. We know Unai Emery, what he goes into this game like, or these games like, the amount of prep, the fact that they were in the hotel, they were looking then at the clips. They were tired in the last 5 minutes, John McGinn was just saying there, but the game plan was pulled off to perfection.
Yeah, what I particularly liked about the game plan was they're out of possession. They look poised, they look ready, they look smart. I think it was mentioned we were aggressive when it went out wide, and we forced them out wide a lot of the time. Duran would drop into midfield and just wait in there in a little block, 4 across, almost 4 lanes which couldn't be broken. And then when they won the ball back, they broke, and they broke with a purpose, with some intent. They drove, they had City on the back foot, and it looked comfortable watching. I think that's probably a great way to describe it. It was a good watch. I really enjoyed myself today watching Villa. I'm really proud of them.
That's exactly it, because we've been through every emotion this season with Villa, it feels like, watching them here. But I was sat here, you came in for the second half to watch alongside me, and it did just feel comfortable.
Yeah, I thought they would cause us more problems in the second half, just because I thought they might get a bit of an ear bashing by the manager at half time. And although he shuffled the pack a little bit, we were pretty. That's why I'm saying I can't critiquing the lads today. The 2 centre backs were brilliant. Our full backs were fantastic. And we did great in the middle of the park. Yeah. I think Onana coming back and Tielemans doing his job allowed Morgan Rogers, who everybody knows, he's my favourite. So I can see the big man and give him the big hug later on. But he gets a goal. He's not standing outside at the edge of the D. He's following John McGinn in. John is the shot, spins to me, goal. So we're putting the pressure on them all the time, putting them on the back foot. It was a really, really good performance after the disappointment of last week. We go above them in the league as well, which is a big enough carrot for the lads. And I think John talking about the versatility of some of the players, Stan,
he does.
He shuffled the pack in terms of 4-4-2 or 4-3-3, or Duran has to come back in the middle of the park to make sure we're not overrun, and they did it fantastically well.
And John Duran, he done a few times for Morgan Rogers. Yeah. Morgan Rogers picked the ball, ran with the ball, played there, went in, and John Duran automatically just went to fill his place, because that's what you need, especially when you play teams like Man City. They'll pick you up. And you have to be balanced. You have to be able to shuffle, to make sure you come across nicely. John McGinn, he's not a wide player. No. We don't play with the width, and we don't use the width only through the fullbacks. So that he sacrificed. He worked really hard. The soon the ball goes in our half, he just double up. He got his responsibilities. And when you have players...
You could have played in the game today. You could have just sat there.
Yeah, you would have loved to have played in this.
That shuffle 10.
You mentioned Tielemans. Tielemans' simplicity there was the best thing.
So good.
Everything was like, he got other players involved. They were just bouncing off him. He wasn't running with the ball. He wasn't doing magical things, but everything else was right. He was playing the ball at the right time, forward, backwards, keeping the ball. And when you have a player like that, we talked about Rodri. Tielemans today was that one. He was just nice, taking over and making sure when we got the ball, we keep the ball. Doesn't matter what we do, we keep the ball because we have to sustain pressure. And he was... I agree. He was brilliant.
And you would say that Tielemans, on the whole, I mean, you would almost go so far to say that he's an unsung hero this season, but actually, so many of us have given him the player of the match for however many games now. But again, Darius, that was a perfect example today. Him on the half turn, the awareness that he has around him at all times. As Stiliyan said there, where he kind of knows, he's not the quickest player in the world, so he doesn't run with the ball as such, but the awareness, the pivot around him, he's such an intelligent footballer.
Yeah, I think you got it spot on there. He knows his limitations. I think, as Stiliyan says, he frees everybody else up to do what they do best. What he's done for Morgan today, Morgan's won man of the match today, probably because of Tielemans. And as he said, John Duran dropping in and freeing up Morgan to go and make those runs in behind. Great game for Villa, great game to watch. And I think Tielemans, unsung hero, possibly a contender for man of the match, but I think Morgan was different.
And then even if we were sitting in the dressing room just now, thinking about how we played as a team together. I think psychologically the victory against City, but also with the manager just tinkering with the team, that's something we have to think about as players, that the lads will have to think about. We have challenges coming up, never mind next week up at Newcastle, or not next week, was it Boxing Day?
No one knows what day of the week it is.
Yeah, exactly. So Boxing Day up at Newcastle.
You didn't even notice Kyle Walker is on the second half.
I know, yeah.
So I went like,
it was a true story. About 5 minutes ago, and Alan turned around to us and said, "When did Kyle Walker come on?"
Half an hour ago.
So once again, Alan McInally's right. I was so properly getting the guys in the right place at the right time that not even Kyle Walker could make can put us under pressure in the second half. But in terms of the versatility that they're going to have as we go forward in Champions League, in Europe, etc., and hoping to maintain our place, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, that's important for the players, and they'll have learned something today with a bit of luck that will make us a better football team.
That extra learning, that extra experience, that extra confidence as well. And especially
every day's a school day, isn't it? I mean, generally.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Unai Emery keeps talking about we need to trust the process.
Yeah.
It's a process that we work on. But what we saw today, we talked about Duran and Watkins.
Absolutely.
Man City haven't had that today. There was Haaland was out of the game. Nobody comes in. You don't give him anything different. You take Duran out, Wally Watkins one-on-one with the keeper straight away. Why? His movement, the way he moves. When you have two strikers like that, the team feels confident because they can play different.
He'll be kicking himself, Wally, won't he? I know he's hit it right at the goalie as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure he would have expected to score. It was a great chance. I don't think he expected, but I think he missed in the right way, if you can say that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tricky angle from what we could see here, and we've only seen it live, of course, there, and we haven't got, obviously, the replays to be able to show you because they are in embargo at the present.
I think Akanji does a good job, because Akanji does really well to stop him going across to the corner. So he's had to try and sort of sneak it in the corner or blast it. I think he's going probably to try and hit it high and just hasn't got it enough, and he's obviously Ortega's made a good save in the end. But even then... listen, at 2-0 up, we're looking as if they're more likely to score. And although Lucas Digne's very unlucky to stand on the ball, Phil's come in, who was also pretty quiet. I mean, we spoke about him before the game, and he's not... He was good, he was all right, Phil Foden, but he wasn't that... he wasn't sneaking between players and ghosting into the box.
He didn't get many of those moments, did he, where he's at his best. There was that one which you pointed out the second half, where he does get a shot, goes over the bar. But I think it goes over the bar because he's not getting many of those moments. He's not getting practice at what he does best.
To actually get it on target then at that point. And we spoke about him beforehand, that you look back at the United game for City, he was basically the only player that was on form then. And he has had his moments again this game. But it was, though, that City goal at the end, it was slightly frustrating because, of course, mainly for Emi Martinez, Stiliyan, because he's going to want his clean sheet. And it was just one of those unfortunate unfortunate things. Luca Dean stepping on the ball there. They get their chance. Ultimately, it hasn't mattered.
He will be spitting feathers.
Yeah.
Martinez, won't he?
Yes.
Because goalkeepers detest. And I mean, even if you know when you're doing the shooting
Yeah,
games
they don't
and
like to keep the balls
and
in
it
the
makes
net,
a save. It makes a save and it comes to you and you stick it in the net. I can remember Nigel Spink chasing me for a mile and a half because I put the ball from someone else's shot. They don't like it. So the big man, you're spot on, Kate. He will not be happy. But having said that, when he steps back, he was fantastic. He looked absolutely rock solid, and his handling of the ball was fantastic. With 10 minutes to go, he comes up. He has to win the punch right in the middle of players. And then the other one, when the ball comes in, he has to come and collect it. But our defenders need to know the big man's confident enough to come and collect it. And he did. Game over, 3 points to
And
us.
there was a lot more communication than it felt like, because at
Has to
times
be.
in the last few weeks between the defence and Emi Martinez as well, there's been a few little mix-ups, but just in those final few minutes there, I think for me, that's the character I would like to take most out of it. Villa could have had the opportunity after Forest last week to slightly go back into their shell a bit, but Emi came out, he took the ball then from that free kick, he was in good communication with his defence as well. So even that, Stiliyan, the fact that Villa have shown that character is a huge positive.
They have to show the character because they have a great season, There's no complacement out there, and I'm sure that Unai Emery will be talking about that complacement, about don't sleep up, make sure we are home, we've got the opportunity, we're playing team that are not going through a good time at the moment, but the main thing for us is our performances, and today's performances matched what the manager said pre-game, and also probably he will say after the game that he will be satisfied, because he should be satisfied with every single one out there.
And Darius, where do Man City go from here? We've eulogised now about Villa for the last however many minutes. What do Man City do from here?
We've spoken about it, yeah. It was interesting. We was looking over across at both managers at the point about 50 minutes before the end, and Villa were comfortably winning 2-0. So you've got one manager whose team are comfortably winning and another manager whose team are uncomfortably winning. And we was looking at the body language of both managers. The team that was comfortably winning, which was obviously Villa, manager was encouraging the players, getting them going. Pep was just silent and he was just quiet, and it looked to me like he was hoping that his top players would produce and find something. And I think that might be the problem, where a manager with all of these top players has been there for so long. How much managing, how much encouraging has he had to do? And I think that he might have come unstuck now in this period, and it might be a managerial issue. Not a problem is in a bad manager. It might be time to think about what's next.
Yeah, and it is getting to that point now, isn't it, Alan? Beyond crisis point then, really, for them.
Well, it is crisis point considering it's Manchester City we're talking about. Champions of Europe, they're the reigning champions of the Premier League. It said they've done it all. But in terms of changing the manager, I mean, he'll be given as much time as he wants. I don't know how much money they'll be able to spend in January, if any, actually. I'm not sure. And
we're not sure what's happening at the
On the
moment.
still in court or something.
Yeah, well, and they've got all this coming over them with all these allegations, etc., etc., etc. But it's still Man City. They've still got really, really good football players in their team. But there's something just not right just now. There's something that's just with the lads. You know, we talked about, and it's a great word that Stan used, the vulnerability that they have. And we've all gone through spells in our career when you're like, I don't know, my touch wasn't just as good, or I lifted my head 3 seconds, or a nanosecond just too late to try and thread somebody through. There's no way that we won't get it back because they're a good team, but there's certainly something at the moment in time. There's a gulf between the City team that was wiping everybody out to what we're seeing at the moment in time. And, you know, if you can score first. By the way, they have a game against Everton at home, and Everton went to Arsenal, didn't they? And frustrated the life out of them. So it's not going to be an easy game for City. And if, you know, Everton will do exactly the same thing, their game plan will be the same. But, yeah, he's got a big job in his hand to even get them to, where are they now, 7th?
They're just below us in 6th right now.
Sixth,
We've
right,
still got a
okay.
few more games, obviously, to go than with this being
Listen,
an early kick-off. But
you'd be a brave man to bet against them being in the top 4 at the end of the season, but nevertheless, you'd be I think you might be a very lucky man if they manage it.
yeah, and just on the table, so Aston Villa up to 5th now on 28 points, the same as Forest again, who of course have got a game in hand. Man City on 27 points, so we are leapfrogging them a point ahead. 2 points off of Arsenal in 3rd, though, who again do have a game advantage. But Aston Villa, though, they're going to go to Newcastle on Boxing Day, Stiliyan. A tricky game. We knew when Aston Villa went to Newcastle at the start of last season, the first day of last season, they got absolutely thumped there. So not an easy place to go, but they couldn't be going there with any more confidence now.
It's going to be cold, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's the other part. Yeah.
It's going to be cold up there.
Take these trousers with you.
Get the
Those
ski pants out.
No, it's uncomfortable place to go. I think Newcastle do have a team that can hurt you. They do play a good football. They've got a very powerful, strong, physical team. But at the moment, is where Villa stand is that Unai Emery has a very good group of players who understand what is needed to be done on the pitch. They understand hard work. They understand how to be a good teammate, and they understand one thing is, if you want to achieve, if you want to fight with the top teams, you have to go and win to places like Newcastle. And it will be the same approach, but it's like Unai Emery say, it's one of the best leagues, and it's the toughest league where you don't know what to expect.
Don't know what to expect, but hopefully confidence will be at a high. Right, that is pretty much everything from us then, lads. So big thank you to all of you for coming back into it. Also for bringing a cheese platter that is currently out of vision, but Stiliyan and Darius can definitely come again. They have provided cheese and fruit for Alan and I. So big thank you to all of you for your time, and big thank you to all of you as well for tuning in. And from all of us here at Aston Villa, a very Merry Christmas. Bring on Boxing Day and Newcastle.